Hello there. Today we're going to be making a simple typing game using HTML and JavaScript. So I'm going to show you an example of kind of what the website or the game will look like. So this is kind of what it'll do. It's kind of like Nitro Type, that you basically type, but you don't have to fix any of your errors, and you're just going to type along like so. It's really easy, really simple, and yeah. So what you first want to do is you want to create a folder. You can put it anywhere really. And we're going to create a file inside of it. And we're going to call it index.html. So to begin, we're going to have to just do some basic boilerplate stuff. So doc type HTML. I would definitely recommend watching my How to Make a Clicker Game series, because this is kind of like a continuation on that. It's going to expect you to know some basic JavaScript. But we're going to go over some more advanced topics, I should say. We're going to do a head. We're just going to call it typing game. Okay, and then we're going to link a style sheet. Types can be text, CSS, and the href is going to equal main.css. Okay, then we're going to define a body. Okay, so if we go look at the typing game here, we can tell that we are going to need a title, and then a container to hold the words per minute, accuracy, and then a container to hold all the words to type. And if you refresh, it should be loaded there. Okay, so let's make the title. You could put anything you want. I'm going to put typing game P, words per minute, another P, accuracy. Okay, and then we're going to add a span. This is going to hold our words per minute. So words per minute container 0. And then we're going to do another span. We're going to have the ID of accuracy. Accurate. I can't spell accuracy. Container. 100%. Okay. And then we need to design this box right here. So to do that, we're going to create a div. We're going to give it the class unselectable, and we're going to get the ID type to or text to type container. Okay, and then we're going to link our JavaScript file. Type equals module, just because we're going to be using module.js for this, which is basically JS, but each file is independent of each other. So you can't like call a script from another file without importing it. So we're going to have this. This is going to be our div and all that. So what we need to do is probably add some styles to make it look a little bit nicer, specifically in this section right here. So in order to do that, we're going to have to create a new CSS file. So we're going to have to create a new file, main.css. We're going to add the unselectable container or character class, which is going to just set user select none. This is so users can't drag the text. As you see, I can't drag this text like I can drag that text. Hashtag text to type container. We're going to design this. We're going to set the font family to Courier New. And most IDEs will add all this extra stuff, which is basically saying, hey, if you can't get Courier New, then get Courier. If you can't get Courier, then get monospace. So it's basically a failsafe for each font. Okay, then you're going to set the border to black, 2 pixels solid, the border radius to 5px, padding to 10 pixels, font size to 18 pixels, and width to 50%. You can see, we now have that box. Okay, next we're going to create the main.js file. Okay. So first thing, we're going to create an object. We're going to call it const race, and this is going to hold all our properties about the race. So, for example, like, is the race active? That's false. Time that's passed, 0. We're going to add a comment, so how long the race has been going on. Okay, racers, which is going to be an array, and then text to type, which we're going to do. This is some generic text the user has to type in order to win. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to have to do next is we're going to have to make the racer object. That way we can actually start racing. So in order to do that, we're going to have to create a new file, racer.js, and we're going to create a class. And basically what a class is it's an object, but you can make multiples of objects. So you're going to make lots and lots of races. You can make lots of races, but for this example, it's going to be a racer. So instead of just having one object, you can have multiple objects. You can just keep creating instances of it. So it's like a template. That's what a class is. Templates, you can make objects, which are these things right here, of the class you made. So we're going to start making the racer. We're going to set the property completed race equal to false. Error count, how many errors they made, to 0. Word skips equal to 1. Letters skipped equal to 0. Typing index equals 0. Words per minute equal to 0. Accuracy equal to 0. And then race finish time equal to 0. So completed race will be if they've completed the race or not. Error counts how many errors they made or typed incorrect things. Word skips is like nitros in Nitro Type, but you just press enter and it'll skip the entire word. Letters skipped is equal to 0. Typing index is equal to 0, which is where they are currently typing. So like if they're at, for example, 2, they'll be at the I. 0 be the T, etc., etc. Words per minute, how fast they typed, accuracy, how fast, how good they typed, and then race finish time is what time they finished the race. So let's create a constructor. And a constructor is basically lets you do this, like let racer equal new racer. And then you could put parameters in here like, ooh, what color? I want them to be green or something like that. Basically, this is where you initialize the class. And we're just going to take the name and isPlayer, and we're going to set the default isPlayer to false. Next tutorial, we'll go through how to add like AI racers, so having isPlayer equal to false is really helpful. Okay, so what we need to do is just set this.name equal to name, and this.isPlayer equals isPlayer. That's all we have to do. We're going to add a comment to it. Creates a racer. Most IDEs will let you do this thing called JSDoc, which is in this format. I think the name of the player of the racer, and then isPlayer is going to be a boolean, which is if the racer is the player or not. Okay. So what we need to do next is we need to export it. And we can just simply just say export racer. And then we're going to add a comment right here, just says racer. So we have our racer class. Now we need to initialize, hey, we have a player, let's make the player. So in order to do that, we'll go back to our main.js file, and we're going to initialize the player. In order to do that, all we need to do is const player racer. equals new racer player, and we're going to set this to true. But the thing is, it's going to cause an error when I try and run it because I didn't import it. And this is how modules work, is you have to import all the classes you want to use. So import racer from racer.js. Now, when I said these comments earlier, they're not necessary. You don't have to do them. So this is just preference. You can ignore this step if you don't want to do it. But I'll do it just for the sake of doing it. But okay. So once we import it, what we're going to do once we import it, we're going to initialize the player racer. And now if I refresh, we don't get any errors because it's now defined. Okay. And then we next want to add the player to the list of racers. So in order to do that, we're just going to do race.racers.push player racer. Okay. Now, if we go and look, nothing should change. Now we want to make it so we can update this section right here with the current typing index of the player. So like the text there, so we could see what to type. That's what we're going to do next. In order to do this, we will need to go back to our racer because that's where we're going to handle the where the player is in the current rate. So what we're going to have to do is we're going no, we're going to be doing this in the race file. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new function, update text to type container. We're going to add the player racer as a parameter. And this function is going to update the text to type container using the player's current position. With the player's current typing position. And then the player racer is going to be a racer, and it's going to be the player who is currently racing. Okay. So we're going to grab the element, and the element is going to be that text to type container. And then we're going to set its inner HTML to the text to type. Okay. Now these little things right here basically allows you, it's basically a string between these, and then what you do is you just put in what you want the variable to be there. So if we call this function race.update text container. Yeah, so if we just call this at the bottom of the screen, you can now see, hey, our text is now here. That's what we want. But we still can't type anything. So we need to add the functionality of typing. So in order to do that, we're going to basically add a key event listener. Add an event listener. So we're going to add an event listener, and the event is going to be a key press. Okay, so whenever the user presses the keyboard, we want to see if the race is not active, then we're just simply going to return. So we only want this function to run if the race is currently active. In order to do that, we'll just need to set race.active equals true at the bottom of the file. But when we type stuff, it's not working. But if we do something like alert event dot key, look at that. It even recognizes if we press shift or not. So as you can see, we're going to remove that test function real quick. Okay, so basically what we want to do is if we want to check if the event dot key equals the race text to type character at dot char at, and then the player racer dot typing index. Now, basically we're checking, hey, does the key we just pressed equal to where the player typing position is at? And if it is, well then we're going to increase the typing index. And then we're going to update the text to type container. Okay. But the thing is, we don't know if the race is done or not, because we don't have any visual input. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to update our update text container with that new information. So in order to do that, we are going to do some interesting stuff. So we're going to make a span equal to past, which is going to be the section that has already been typed. And then we're going to have the ID, another span, which is going to be called current, which is the current key the player needs to type. And then we're going to make no other spans after that. So what we need to do is basically get all the letters before the typing index. In order to do that, we just need to get this.text2type.slice, start from the 0 position to player racer.typing index. Okay, and then for the current, we're going to copy this. And it's going to be the char at the current racing position instead of slice. And then for the last one, we are going to get the characters after the typing position. So the start position is going to be at typing index +1, and then it's going to end at this.text2type.length. Okay, and if we refresh, see if you get any errors, and we didn't get any errors, but still, the problem is we still don't have any visual indicator, so we'll have to add some CSS really quick. Okay, and we're going to target the current element, and we're just going to set the background color to hashtag #BABABA. This will make it so it's like a light gray where your cursor is, and as you can see, if we type, it works. And then we just need to add one for the past. And we're going to set it to like a light gray, so B0, B0, B0. And there you go. Okay. Now, what we need to do next is we need to make it so if the player finishes the race, we need to stop the race time. So, or if the user finishes the race, then we need to stop letting them continue. So, we need to add a new function to our racer, which is going to be called finish race. finish race, which is the current race time, and then the race text. So let's write a function for it. So it completes the race and calculates how calculates the data for this racer. Okay, race time is going to be an integer. How long the race has been going on for, and then race text is going to be a string. The text the racer has to type. So here we're going to calculate the statistics based on what is provided. Based on what's provided. So statistics. Let's calculate the finish time. So this dot race finish time equals race time divided by 100. And basically we're converting from centiseconds to seconds. Since we're going to be, race time is going to be stored in a centisecond, since it's going to run 100 times a second, we're going to have to divide it by 100 to get how many seconds there are. Okay. And then we're going to do this dot update stats race time race text. And then we're going to update the completed race variable. So we're just going to set this dot completed race equals true. Okay. And then typo there. Then we're going to make the update stats function that we just called. And this will, we're going to make the update stats function. And it's going to take the same parameters as race time and race text. And we're just going to copy the same. And okay. So we're going to get the word count, words per word count of the race text. So in order to do that, we're going to let word count equal math.round this dot typing index minus this dot, this dot typing index, divide that by 5. Because how words per minute is calculated is it's the amount of letters divided by 5, which is how many words you typed. And then we're going to calculate the statistics, or calculate this racer's statistics. In order to do that, we'll just set this dot accuracy equals math.round race text dot length minus this dot error count divide that by the race text dot length times that by 100. Okay, and then we're going to calculate the words per minute. This dot words per minute equals math dot round word count divided by race time, divide that by 100 because it's in centiseconds, then divide that by 60. Okay. And then we're going to display the results if this racer is a player. So if this dot is player, then we're going to set document dot get element ID, which is words per minute container, and we're going to set the dot inner HTML equal to this dot words per minute. Then we're going to access the accuracy container and set it to accuracy, like so. And we're going to set these to strings. That way it is a number being confirmed to a string. Okay. Now, how do we know when to complete the race? We just need to go back to main.js and go to the last line. If player racer.typing index is greater than or equal to race.text2type.length, then we're going to finish the race. So player racer.finish race, race.time, and race.text2type. So if I refresh this, problem is it's not going to set the words per minute because time is equal to 0 and we never updated the time. So every 100 or every centisecond, we need to update the time. So set interval and then we're going to do if race.active race.time++. So if the race is currently active, then increase the time. And this function runs every 1 centisecond. Okay, so if you rerun it and do it again, we're going to get our words per minute. There does seem to be a bug with the accuracy. And that's because we didn't add, hey, what if they typed the wrong one? We need to increment their error count. So else, all we need to do, basically this will only run if the player has pressed the wrong key. And we'll just do player racer.error count. We're going to increment that. So if we try this again, okay, now we want to update the statistics of the user screen every second. So we'll just add another interval. You can put this in the centiseconds one if you want it to update it so often, but we're not going to update it so often. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this every second or 1,000 milliseconds. And this runs every 1 second. So if race.active and not player racer.completed race, then we're going to do player racer.update stats. And we're going to pass in the race time and the race text to type. So if I refresh and do some typing, and as you can see, it updated every second. And currently, that's really all we have for this episode. You can change the text to whatever you're typing. So like, let's say you wanted to get some information on, like bugs are really cool, but they are gross to some people. You could do something like this, where you can change the text to type, and it doesn't matter what the text is, you can do it. Next tutorial, we'll probably go over how to do word skips like this. So like this is and you can skip words, and you can only do it once per level. And it doesn't count for your words per minute or anything like that. So we'll do that next episode on how to do that. really simple. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed, and I'll make another one soon. So yeah.